Okay, so it's 12:06 now. Let us start. So again, we will discuss today on VLAN configuration. Okay, so whatever we have learned till now, like subnetting and VLSM, we will go ahead and implement that in the VLAN. How it works, we will learn today. So yesterday, whatever we have completed the VLSM part, I have saved everything here, like five uh, VLSM we had done yesterday. So the first one which we had completed, the class C subnetting and the VLSM, I'm going ahead and exactly the same question I'm going to implement then in the packet tracer in the real environment. How it works, we will check that. Okay. So now before I proceed further and before I proceed like in this task, I just want to cover few uh, like like there are three types of VLAN configuration. Okay, what are they? Let me discuss on that. The first one is, as we all know that on a router, each and every port has a different network, right? So if I'm talking about, just think logical. It's a very simple thing. Think logical that if I'm talking about here, we are segmenting our network into three different subnetworks, right? So if a router has three ports, if a router has three ports, we can do that thing. We can give a network over here. We can give a network over here. We can give a network over here. Okay. So we know that router is a device which interconnects the network. Okay. So basically there are three kinds of VLAN configuration. The one where you will use different ports of router. Okay. For different networks. The second one is if we have layer 3 switch. Okay, what is layer 3 switch? Once we will come to the OSI reference model, you will get to know like switch is a device works on layer 2 of the OSI reference model. Router is a device which works on layer 3 of the OSI reference model. But for a local area network, there's a device called layer 3 switch, okay, which you can use for VLAN configuration. It also have some features, not all, but some features of routing, so that you can connect different networks, but only on local area network. Layer 3 switch does not have WAN port, so it will not work on internet. If you are connecting the internet, then again router is must, it's mandatory. But for local area network, if you are creating VLANs, if you are connecting different networks, then layer 3 switch you can use. Okay, so the first thing which we will learn today is this method, how to create VLAN through this method. It's a very simple method, nothing to do in this. In layer 3 switch, again we can create three VLANs here, okay, using layer 3 switch. The third and the most important, which is uh, like very much running today, that is this method. You will take a router, I will connect only one port to a switch, and we will create VLANs over here. This method is known as router on a stick, which we generally use in any local area network, because router is a very costly device. If you use different ports for same local area network, okay, that is not good. Okay, so we will connect only one port to the switch, and then we will segment the network. But before I proceed further, in all these three configuration of VLAN, I just want to discuss something, some basics thing, so that we can understand what exactly is happening here. Okay. Now let me launch Packet Tracer. Any question till last session 21, guys? Sri, Karthik, anyone? Boris, any question?
Hello.
Yes, Sri.
Sir, yesterday you gave some assessment, right? In that
Yes.
one, you gave value as 30.
Haha.
In that case, we should take 32 in the sense it will come exact 30, sir. 32 minus 2. We should take 32 or 64 there.
No, 32.
32.
If
Okay.
it is less than or equal to the value, like suppose if I'm getting giving you value x, if it is less than or equal to 2 to the power n minus 2, then you will take this value only.
Okay.
Okay, suppose I'm
Okay.
giving you 30, so
Hmm.
30 is less than equal to 2 to the power 5 minus 2, right?
Right. Yeah.
Then you will take
30.
this only.
Okay.
Okay, if it will be 31, then you will go for 2 to the power 6.
6.
Okay,
No.
any other doubts?
No.
Yeah, that is other thing, like there is no any reserve IP. If you will get any extra PCs on that network, then you have to change the network. That is different thing. But as per rules, you will take, if it's less than equal to 2 to the power n minus 2, then we will go for that only. Okay. Now, just let me log in here. Fine. Okay, so before I go ahead and start configuring the router, let us implement some basics network and check like what exactly happening. Whatever we said yesterday, is that correct or wrong? Okay, so for this scenario, I'm just going to take one router here and another router here. I will require a layer 3 switch, so I'm taking a layer 3 switch as well for the second uh, method, and uh, I will require.
Hello, sir.
Hello, brother.
Sir, we just joined now. What are we performing today? This lab.
Yes, VLAN configuration, all three methods of VLAN.
We are using that VLAN. How you use VLSM? You in VLAN, right?
Yes, how to implement VLSM into VLAN.
Okay, sir. Please continue, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so this is our requirement. In the first scenario, I will use only the router ports to connect different networks. On the second scenario, I will use uh, layer 3 switch, okay, for VLAN configuration. And in the third scenario, I will use the router on a stick method. But before moving to that process, let me take PC here. 2, 1, 2. Okay. Before moving to that process, let us discuss on something which we generally do in a local area network. Okay. So yesterday I said you like if you are connecting, switch is a device which provides the attachment to the end devices. If you are connecting more than 2 to 3 pieces in a network, in a local area network where you are configuring only one network, there is only one network, you just want to communicate between each other. Like if you have 10 devices, if you want the connectivity between all 10 devices in a single network, then router is not required. Is it true? Let us check. So let me take a switch here, one switch. Okay, if I want to connect 4 PC, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, switch to PC, which cable we use? Cross cable or straight cable? Straight cable. Different device, straight cable. Same device, cross cable, right? So I am connecting all these 4 devices with a cable. Now I told you that
So you can simply click that serial, that first cable, and it will automatically do. Don't need to choose the straight cable or crossover cable.
you're talking about this one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is okay, but just for understanding, you have to understand like which cable you are using. In packet tracer, you just choose this one and it will start working. It will automatically take whichever cable is required. But in real environment, you should know like which cable we are going to use, right? That is why we will keep the habit of selecting the correct cable from here instead of this one, automatic, right? So let us give the IP address on each and every PCs. Okay, say I'm using a network 192.168.0.0 network. I'm giving this 0.1 IP to this PC. Subnet mask by default 255.255.255.0. Okay, let me copy this.
So don't give 0.1. It would be as a gateway, right?
I'm not using any router here. I'm not using any router. That is what I'm trying to explain, that if you are connecting 10 PCs in a network where different network is not required, you are not going to communicate with other network, then router is not required. You don't need to give anything here in the default gateway. Okay, only the IP address and the subnet mask will work. Okay, let me show you here. 0.2, and this is not mandatory that you will give the first IP to the default gateway. You can give any IP to the default gateway. That is my choice, right? 3.
But sir, mostly we give dot one in mostly
Yeah,
in
just to remember, like, okay, this is the network, so first IP is the router IP and rest is the PCs. But there is no any hard and fast rule. You can give any IP of that network. Okay, as I tried to give the IP address of the same, suppose 0.1, 0.2, we already used 0.1 on the first PC, 0.2 on the second PC, 0.3 on the third PC. If you try to give the same IP here, okay, 1, 2 or 3, okay, let us check what is the error message you're getting. This address is already used in the network, right? So that is why whenever I was explaining the IP address, I was saying the IP address is a uniquely identification number of a PC connected in a network. So in this network, 0.1 is the uniquely identification number of this PC, 0.2 is the uniquely identification number of this PC. So here it's proved that yes, IP address is a uniquely identification number of a PC connected in a network, right? So let us give the fourth one, 4. Okay, now I have 4 PCs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us try to communicate between each other. So I am on the first PC. I'm just trying to ping 192.160.4. Okay, it's communicating, right? No router required. The connectivity is done between each other in the local area network without any router, right? So it means like in your home, if you want to connect 4 or 5 PC or 10 PC, you don't require any router. You just take a switch, and give a connectivity to each and every pieces. It will start working. No need to give the default gateway IP address in the IP address configuration. Just give the IP address and subnet mask of the same network. Now, what will happen if I change the network of any PC? Says this PC is 0.4. I am going ahead and giving the IP address 1.4. The IP is changed now. The network is changed. Earlier, as it is class C, so 3 octet is the network portion. So these 3 PC are in the network of 192.168.0, but this PC is in the network of 192.168.1, right? So the network is changed. Now let us check what is happening. Again, I am going to ping 1.4. It will not communicate. Request timeout, right? These 3 PC will able to communicate between each other, but not this one. Okay, let me try. Let me ping 0.3. 0.3 is working. This PC is communicating with this PC. PC1 is communicating with PC3. So it means, like in a local area network, if you want to communicate between each other, all PCs should have the same network IP address. If you are changing the network of any PC, it will not communicate with other PCs. Okay, for that, because the network is getting changed, and who is the device, which device use interconnectivity of networks? Router. Then the router is required. So if I want to communicate between these PCs and this PC, in this scenario, I will require a router. Let me take a router here. Say here. Okay, let me move these things here now. Fine. So I am going here and connecting this router to this switch. Okay, and I am disconnecting this PC because router is a device which provides interconnectivity, and on single interface there should be only one network. So these 3 PC are in the network of 0.0, 192.168.0.0. So this PC, if I want to connect this to the one network, then I should have, 1 second. Bolo. हाँ. Sorry guys. Okay, so on the second interface, this PC is in other network, so I will use the second interface to connect different network. Okay, so here I am just going to connect this router to this PC directly, and now I'm going to configure the router. So no enable config T, this network, this port Z0/0/0, int Z0/0/0. Okay, I'm just doing the basic configuration whichever we have learned yesterday. Okay, enable to user mode to privilege mode, config T privilege mode to global configuration mode, and I want to give the IP address on this interface. That is why I'm going on the interface Z0/0/0, right? So here I want to give the IP address. So the command to give the IP address is just IP space address. Now which IP address you want to give on that interface? 192.168. Here we are running 0.0 network, right? So this is 1, 2, 3. I'm giving the IP address here dot 4 or dot 10. Okay, any IP of that network. Subnet mask by default 255.255.255.0. Done. By default all ports of router is shut down, so we need to like up the port, so the command is no shutdown. Done. Now on this interface I have different network. Let us go to that interface. int Z0/0/1. On that interface I have different networks of 192.168.1.0. So the IP address on that interface would be 192.168.1.0. dot 1 dot any IP address of that network. So let us say I'm giving 10 there as well. 0.10 on this interface, 1.10 on this interface. 255.255.255.0. No shut. Done. Now, still, because these three PCs are in the same network, you don't need the router intervention. Without router also, they will able to communicate. But if any of this PC wants to communicate with this network, what is the gate of that network? So if just think like that, if this PC, let me draw a picture here. If this PC wants to communicate with this PC, okay, it will directly go to switch and switch will broadcast it to the this PC. But if PC1 wants to communicate with PC4, what will be the gateway? So this PC will send the packet to this router, because this PC finds that okay, 1.4 is not in my network, so switch will not do anything. Now the default gateway comes into picture. Okay, default gateway. What is default gateway? The IP address of the router.
Router
Exactly.
0.10.
So for all these PCs, the gate for different network is this router. Okay, so the packet will send to this router. Now router will decide, do we know about 1.0 network where this packet wants to go? If router thinks yes, if in routing table router finds this, yes, I know about 1.0 network and like I know the path of that network, then router will forward that packet to the same path. Okay, if you will try to ping some other network like 2.0 or any network which router doesn't know, again the packet will drop. Okay, the simple thing. So let me try to do that now. Still, if I want to communicate between our local area network 0.2, this PC wants to communicate with this PC, it is working. But now if I want to communicate with 1.4, still it's not working, right? Why? Because PC doesn't know about the default gateway. Okay, so we should give the information to the PC, like what is the default gateway, where if you want to communicate with different network, where exactly you need to send the packet. Okay, so I'm just going to the PCs, and I'm providing the default gateway here 192.168.0.10. So for this network, for all three PCs, the default gateway would be 0.10. For this PC also the default gateway would be 0.10.
You have to confirm every PC that it is 0.10.
Yes, correct. Because for every PCs on this network, the gateway is same, right?
Yes.
If they wants to go to the different network, the router is the same, and for all of them, the default gateway is same, right? That is why.
Yes.
So for all these PC, the default gateway is 0.10, and for this PC, the default gateway is 1.10.
110.
Yes.
Sir, how is connected
How it's connected means
the PC router to PC?
cross cable.
And it doesn't need gateway from here end?
No, I'm assuming that this router is connected directly with the PC. If you want, you can connect a switch in between as well.
So which gateway you use for this one? Just direct connection and connected.
Yes, 1.10,
And what is the PC IP address, sir? 101.
1.4, 1.4.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had given the default gateway here 1.10. Now just try to communicate if it's working or not. So look here. Right now I was trying to communicate with 1.4, but the packet was getting dropped. Request timeout. Again, after giving the default gateway to each PC, let me try to communicate, and it should work now. It's working now. Done, guys. So I hope,
you can send a message and you can also check, right?
yeah, we can send the packet. but that is
Yeah.
not required. So it's
That will
replying, it
become
means the
successful,
communicators is
successful,
working.
successful failed. From bottom line.
Okay,
When we
so
send the packet, it will send us. It will show us it's successful or failed.
yes, so if it's replying, it means it's success, right?
Successful. Yes.
Yeah, so I hope the basics configuration is clear to everyone, how a network works, what is the role of the switch, what is the role of the router. The basic configuration is clear to everyone. Am I right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let us come to the scenario. I'm just keeping these aside here so that if anything required, we can do some configuration here. Okay, fine. Now let us come to the first scenario. Okay. So as I told you, there are three types of VLAN configuration, and in VLAN, we are going to connect different networks. So if you understand this scenario, the first concept is clear, right? On routers, each and every interface, there's a different network. So the same thing will work here. If I want to connect three different networks, we will do the same thing in the first method. Let us do that as per the uh, whatever we have covered yesterday. Where it is, yes, here. So as per this scenario, we will go ahead and configure the student network, the okay, student, no, here it is faculty, student faculty. This was the back office, my mistake. Okay, this was the no, faculty 75. Yes, this was back office. Okay, so we are going to just configure these things in the scenario. Now let us come here. So let us take some switch, this switch and this switch. We have two ports by default. We can add more ports, but we will just check on two ports so that we can understand, okay, the concept. 1 and 2. I'm going to use two different ports of router for two different networks, right? And this switch will be connected to the PCs. Let me take two PCs so that we can check. One, two. Fine. Now, this is my faculty network. This is my student network. Okay. Just give the IP same which we have done here. So for faculty network, I was using which network? This one, right? Subnet mask I will use 255.255.255.224, and the network which I will use there is 128 to 159. Okay, so let us go here in the router, enable config t int z 0/0/0 0/0/ okay, IP address 192.168.0. What was the network here? For faculty network, I'm using the faculty network. This was the first was faculty network, the second was student network. Okay, so for faculty it's 128 to 159. It means the first IP which I give here is 129 to the router, subnet mask 255.255.255 and 224, the subnet mask 224, right? So 224, no shut. Done. Now on the second interface, int z 0/0/0 IP address. For student network, what was the IP address which we were using? 0 to 127. The subnet mask is 128. 192.168.0.1 255 255 255 128. No shut. Done. Okay, I had given the wrong IP again on 0.0.0. So if you want to remove any configuration from the router or the switch, what is the command? Just with the same command, whatever you have configured here, just before that you have to add no. So I have used this IP. Just go at the beginning of the line, type no, it is done. And the correct IP on that interface would be this one, okay, which I had given earlier. Now int z 0/0/1. Here I have to give that IP 0.1. Okay, no shut.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Please, I'm a little bit confused, please, sir.
yes, please
Please,
ask.
which IP address are you giving to the router?
Okay, let me explain you. The same. Here you can see the network. These are the topology, that these are the network which we have done yesterday. The first scenario when we were explaining the VLSM, right? So
Yes,
the
sir.
IP address was 192.160.4. I have divided that IP into three segments for faculty, student, and back office. The requirement of faculty network was 20 PC, for student 70 host, for back office 5 host. So this was not a student, this was back office. Okay, by mistake I have written student. So for student 70 host, as per VLSM rule, we have taken the first network, the largest network, to do the VLSM first. So this was the network which we were using for student network, right? uh, Network range was 0 to 127, and the subnet mask was 128, which we were using, right? For faculty network, 128 to 159, the subnet mask which we will use in the faculty network is 224. The same thing I am going to configure in the real environment. Whatever we have done yesterday on the paper, the same configuration we are going to do here on the real environment. What is the use of subnetting? You learn subnetting, right? What is the use of subnetting? To do the VLSM.
Yeah.
What is the use of VLSM? VLSM does just it's a like theory part to the manage or to the plan a network, where after planning you will implement, where you will implement in the real environment. So in the real environment you will configure router and switch. So the same thing whatever we have done yesterday, the same thing I am going to implement in the real environment. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that you can correlate where exactly and why we do VLSM, and how to use that IP, the same IP which we have done on the pen and paper, how to use that same IP in the real environment. Okay, so that is why I have taken this example, whatever you have done yesterday. Okay, let me clear all the things, right? So here uh, your question was what IP address we are providing here on the router. So this is the faculty network. I assume this is the faculty network, and this is the student network, right? This is the faculty network, this is student network. So as per our scenario, the faculty network, for faculty network, what was the network we got? From 128 to 159. So for faculty I will use from 128 to 159, and the subnet mask which we need to use is this one, 224, right? So 224 subnet mask I will use in this network. And for this network, okay, yes, and in this network, for student network, my network was 0 to 127, and the subnet mask I will use is 255 255 255 0.128, right? Clear, Boris?
Yes,
Messi? Right. So that is why if you check here, I have given, let me check, do show IP int brief. Okay. So I had given 0.129 on this interface, right? And on this interface, still the IP is not assigned. 0.129 on 000 and 001 0.1. Okay, I already have given the IP address. Let me try once again. INTZ 0/0/1. Okay. Okay, no was added at the between. That is why. So let me remove the no here. Yes. Now so check do show IP INT brief. So 129 to the first network, the faculty network. This network IP address 129 and 0.1 this network IP address, and subnet mask which I was using here is 128.4.255.255.255.128 for the student network and 224 for faculty network, right? Clear?
yes, sir.
Right. So now let's just go to the PC and give the IP address of same network here. So this is the faculty network PC. So I will give the IP to this PC as 192.168.0.130, right? 129 is the IP address of the router. 130 I am giving to this PC. The subnet mask would be 224 192.160.129. The default gateway is 129. Any confusion? No? No? And I'm giving the same network IP address here. 131 subnet mask 224 and this 0.129. Okay. Now this is the student network. So the student network was from 0 to 127. First IP I had given 0.1 on the router. So on the PC I'm going to give 0.2 and the subnet mask which I use in that network is 128. 0.1. The default gateway for this network is 0.1 and for this PC 0.3 128. 0.1 is the default gateway. Now just check if it's working or not. So from this PC, first of all I'm going to communicate with this PC. Let us check if it's communicating in its own network or not. Ping 192.168.0. This was 130 and this was 131, right? Let us check. 0.131 is the IP of this second PC. So command prompt this PC. Yes, 131. It's communicating. No issue with the communication in the same network. Now let us check in the second network. Ping 192.168.0. This PC's IP was 0.2 in the different network 0.2. So 0.2. It will take a little bit time to create the table in ARP. Yes, now it's one.
Sir, always first packet will be dropped because of the ARP resolution, right?
Exactly. Okay, what is ARP? What is address resolution protocol?
Sir, it is a protocol used if we get the actually sir, the communication happen between two devices when it get the IP address as well as MAC address, right? So suppose someone
So mapping the IP,
and the
sorry, mapping the map from IP.
IP. Mapping the MAC from IP. So you know the IP address, you don't
of
know the
that,
MAC address, then you
how
know
will it send the packet, right?
yes.
Okay, so that is why for the first time it takes time to map the MAC address of the device. Okay, the packet will send, the switch will receive the packet, and it will think like to which device I need to send the packet. So once we will come to the broadcast domain and the collision domain, then you will understand. Then first time, for the first time, switch broadcast. Broadcast means it sends the packet to everyone, to just to know like who is this guy. Okay, suppose I am the teacher and I'm taking the first class. I don't know the name of the students. Someone came to the class, some like peon or staff came to the class and asked me that uh, okay, can you please tell me like who is Krishna? I want to communicate with Krishna. I don't know who is Krishna. Among 50 peoples, I don't know who is Krishna. So I will broadcast that who is Krishna. Once I will get to know that this person's name is Krishna, then from the second time, I don't need to broadcast. I immediately say, okay, Krishna, you just go, right? So the same thing is happening here. For the first time, switch doesn't know what is the MAC address of which PC. So the first time the switch will broadcast to everyone that I want the MAC address of this particular IP address. So everyone will reply that my MAC address is this, my MAC address is this. So switch will create the CAM table in its memory, and from the second time whenever any packets will come to look for that particular PC, it will immediately send the packet to that PC. That is why for the first time it takes a time. Okay,
Hello.
yes,
Okay. Is it a static route or a DHCP that you set up from there?
it's nothing. This is simple basic network. There is no any routing
And
going on. There is
uh,
no any routing going
uh,
here.
I mean, you set the IP on the PC or no IP?
Where exactly routing table required? When you, no no
On the
when,
PC, the laptop computer.
no 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 no, routing table required once you will have more than one router, so that they can communicate between each other, they can share their networks details of like their routing tables to each other. Okay, suppose let me give you the example. If you have this router connected with few networks and this router connected with few networks, right? And this is connected, so this router, suppose here 0.0 network, here 1.0 network, here 2.0 network. So this router knows about 0.0 and 1.0 because they are directly connected to this network, right? Right? If you check here, let me show you. If I am going here, if I am giving a command, do show IP route, you can see here that there is two networks directly connected. C means, you can see here, C means connected network, right? So there are only two networks going here, 0.0 with 25 bits and 0.128 with 27 bits. Means these two networks are directly connected. So this router knows about that network. Okay. That is why routing table is not required or routing protocol is not required. Okay. Routing protocol is not required in this scenario. But once you will create this kind of topology, where multiple routers are there, so this router knows about 0.0 network and 1.0 network, this router knows about 1.0 network and 2.0 network. If any of this PC wants to communicate with this PC from 0.1 say and 2.1, 2.1 wants to communicate with 0.1, this will send the packet to the default gateway. Now this router will check that do we have any entries in my routing table about 0.1 or 0.0 network? No, because only two networks is directly connected with me, 1.0 and 2.0. I don't know about 0.0 network, right? In that scenario, we will run the routing protocol so that the routers can communicate between each other and they can share their routing tables to inform the neighbor router that yes, I know this network. If anyone's come to you for this network, you just send the packet to me. I will send the packet to that network. Okay. But in this scenario, routing
Excuse me.
protocol is not required. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
If the two router and point-to-point connectivity is there, sir, or
Uh-huh.
it doesn't need routing protocol. Only static configuration is enough, right, sir?
Static is also a routing protocol.
Direct static configuration. It can be converted routing protocol, sir, because we are just simply giving directly means next connectivity. We are just next hop for the configuration.
No,
Routing protocol we mostly RIP and OHRP where we just need to do network and the protocol does the whatever rest of the work.
you are getting confused. There are two kinds of routing protocol. One is static, one is dynamic. So if you are
Yes, sir.
like confusion between static and dynamic, you're talking about RIP OSPF. Yes,
Yes, sir.
RIP
I don't
OSPF is a
count static as any routing protocol. I don't count static configuration as a static as routing as a
No, no.
routing protocol.
Yeah, hello, hello. Sorry.
yes.
Actually, there is one protocol that is being used for static. There is IP routing.
Mhm.
So the TCP/IP stack, in the TCP/IP stack, it will use the IP routing protocol because it will keep going from one top level protocol to the lower level. Application is the highest level, right? So it will come down all the way to the MAC level. When MAC and IP address is only concerned, then it will use the IP routing, right? IP routing, it has to use the IP routing to make the conversion and make it happen.
Exactly. So whenever there is only the requirement of MAC address and the IP address, uh, just think about that. Like where exactly you need the routing protocol. Whenever you want to share the routing tables information of one router to the second router, there you need the routing protocol. Whether it is static or dynamic, that doesn't matter. Okay. If you are using 2 to 3 routers, then it requires the routing protocol to communicate between each other. As simple as that. If directly connected network is if you're taking one network or one router and there are 3 ports and 3 networks are connected directly, routing protocol is not required because router itself knows about that network. Correct, Saurav?
Yes, sir.
I don't know like what exactly you are trying to say. If you're saying the same thing,
I'm saying that starting routing, we can't count as a routing protocol because in that we just configure IP routing command and just you have to give source destination what is the next hop. So we are critic where
why you will not
configuration
consider
is doing everything,
okay,
right?
why you will not consider that as a routing protocol? Why you will not consider that? Tell me.
Because what is in that is what we it comes to then what is routing protocol? So the definition of routing protocol is set of rules in which right sir in which we tell the packet to go to communicate with the other, right?
Okay, let me explain you
Okay, sir.
what is static and what is dynamic. What is the difference between static and what is dynamic? If you understand these terms, you will never confuse in this. Whatever you said right now, that is completely wrong because routing protocol means sharing of routing table. Okay, routing protocol is a set of rules where router will share the routing tables, right? Now static means manually and dynamic means automatically. Whether you are doing manually or automatically, that doesn't matter. If you are sharing the routing table, that is called routing protocol. Static routing is also a routing protocol. Dynamic routing is also a routing protocol. You cannot say static, it means we are giving manual commands and we are telling the router that I know no this is network, so this is not the routing protocol. There also you are creating the routing table but manually. Correct, Saurav?
Yes, sir.
Never ever
Yes,
say,
sir.
never say this statement again because that is also a routing protocol. But there is 2 types of routing protocol: static and dynamic. In dynamic, there are like 2 types of EGP and sorry, interior gateway protocol and exterior gateway protocol. Okay, IGP and EGP. So that is different thing. That are the parts of routing protocol, types of routing protocol, but never say that static routing protocol we cannot consider that as a routing protocol. That is also a part of routing protocol where we are configuring the routing table manually. Is it clear now? Is it clear, brother?
Clear, clear.
Right.
Krishna,
Yes, Tinga.
okay. From those, can you go to the packet tracer again?
Yes, that is.
Okay. You said for the school and the other one is the other
One is for
school and,
a faculty, one is for a student network.
okay. Right now you cannot pin the from the PC, from the computer from the faculty. You cannot pin the
No,
computer
no,
from the,
I can ping.
and,
I just try
okay.
to ping. This is the IP address 0
Mm-hmm.
dot 130.27 means if you check here, these two are completely different network, right?
Yes,
This network
correct,
is
correct.
different network, this network is different network. I have configured in such a way so that the router knows about that network, directly connected network, as the router has the routing table information of both the networks, then it is able to ping. Like from this PC 0.130, I'm trying to communicate with 0.2 of this different network. So it's replying. You can see here 0.2 is
Okay,
responding.
okay.
No,
Okay, unless you have a different router added, but added on this the
exactly,
router.
exactly.
Unless you have two router, that's when the static router will become in place. I mean the
Exactly,
routing table will come in place, right?
exactly.
Unless you have two router.
Definitely. If you will take different router, if you will connect a network here, if you will connect these networks, then routing protocol comes into the picture because this router knows only these two network which is directly connected, but the network which you will connect here, that router does not know about that network because it's not directly connected. So for sharing of routing tables between each other, the routing protocol is required. Okay,
Okay, understood. Yes, understood.
is it clear to all?
Clear, clear.
Saurav, any confusion now? Saurav? No, Saurav is not there. Okay, now let us come to the, so first scenario is done. The first part, the three types of VLAN configuration, the first part we have done here. This is done, but this is very least use. This configuration will be done by only those administrator who does not know the VLAN configuration. Okay, now the second scenario, when you are using a layer 3 switch. Okay, layer 3 switch is a device which provides you some features of routing. Okay, some features of router. So how it works, let us check now. Give me 1 second.
Krishna, how would you know that this is a layer 3 switch? Is there anything that we can see and know that this is a layer 3 switch apart from those switches?
Sorry, Tinga, I was on mute. Yes, please tell me what is your question.
My question was, how would you differentiate uh, the layer 3 switch and the layer 2 switch? How will you like tell that this is a layer 3 and this is a layer
Okay, good
2
question.
switch?
Very good question. First of all, the hardware configuration of both the switch and the layer 3 switch, layer 2 switch and the layer 3 switch is completely different. Okay, here you will check that you will get uh, whenever it comes to the layer 3 switch, the name of the switch will different. Okay, it will be layer 3 switch. Now if you check the hardware configuration is also different. Okay, if you check here in the packet tracer, I don't know it will show you or not. Fast Ethernet port and gigabyte port. Okay, let me check fast Ethernet port and gigabyte port. No, in here it is not showing like that. But if you will see that physically, the name itself will show you that layer 3 switch, and also the physical, like if you check the configuration, that is also different. Okay, let me give the exact definition, like how to identify. Between router and layer 3 switch, only one difference, that in router there is a WAN port which works on WAN, but layer 3 switch you can use only for the LAN. Okay, not WAN. So it is not showing anything like that. Let me go here.
Another option is to check whether there is a uplink port on the switch. Layer
That
3 will
is
always have a uplink,
that
right?
is what
There,
that
yeah,
is what I was trying to check here in packet tracer.
yeah,
It was not
exactly.
showing.
Yeah.
Okay, that is what I was trying to explain. Okay, but
Okay, Krishna sir.
okay, no
Go ahead, go
worries.
ahead.
No worries. Okay. So physically you will be able to understand. Yes, yes, it's a layer 3 switch and it's a layer 2 switch. So no need to worry about that. Okay. So now we are going to the second configuration, that is using layer 3 switch, how to configure VLAN. Okay. Now again same scenario. Give me 1 second. Okay guys, just give me 1 second. It's an emergency. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. It will take hardly 2 minutes. Yeah, sorry guys. Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay. Now, so in layer 3 switch, again, I'm just going to connect. Okay, first of all, before I proceed further, let me send you the logic behind layer 3 switch, how it works. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So in the previous scenario, we have used a router and we have connected two networks. Now here we do not have router. We have a layer 3 switch. The concept would be same. What I have to do there, I have to create two virtual LAN. Okay, I will create two virtual LAN, and I have to decide which port of the switch will connect to which network. We have 24 ports on the switch. So which port will be connected to which network? Whenever, suppose if I have given port number 1 to 10 to faculty and port number 11 to 20 to student. So whenever any PC will connect from port 11 to 20, it will automatically connect with student network. And whenever any PC connect from port number 1 to 10, it will automatically come into the network of faculty. So that we have to decide, the first thing. The second thing, by default, as it is switch, it does not have the routing features. So between communicating between different networks, routing features is required. So for that, I have to use IP routing command in the layer 3 switch. This is the command only for the layer 3 switch. Okay, so this is what we are going to do here. Right. Now, first of all, just go to the switch here, command line, again, no, enable config T. Okay, let us take 3 networks here. I am going to take 3 networks, 1 to 10 for faculty, 11 to 24 student, and 21 to 24 for back office. Okay, VLAN 10. I'm creating VLAN 10 so that we can identify that. Okay, VLAN 10, no shut, not required. Okay, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. Okay, if you want to give the name of that VLANs, you can give as VLAN 10 name, say that is for faculty, VLAN 20 name student, VLAN 30 name back office. Okay, done. I have created 3 VLANs. Now on each VLAN that is in the different network, so I will give the IP address as well. So int VLAN 10, okay, IP address. So VLAN 10 is for faculty. For faculty, what was the network which we were using yesterday? 120 to 159. So I will give 129 IP to the router or the switch. Okay, so 192.108.1 sorry 0.129.255.255.255.224. The subnet mask which you need to use is 224, right? For faculty network, 224, this one, right? So I have given that to this. Done. Now int VLAN 20. IP address VLAN 20 is for student network. So for student, I had a network of 0.0. So 0.1, I'm going to give the IP to the switch 255.255.255.128. Okay, 1255 is missing. 255.128. Done. Now int VLAN 30. IP address for VLAN 30. What was the network which we were using? This one. The network range was 160 to 167. The subnet was 248. So the first IP 161 I will give to the router 161 and 255.255.255.248, the subnet mask. Done. Now IP routing. Done. Now, okay, I have to define the switch port range as well. So int range. You can do one thing. You can give manual as well. Just range, why I'm using this range command. This is why, because I want to give the range from port 1 to 10, all the range from 1 to 10 at the same time. If you want, you can do this as well. int, okay, just look here how many ports we have on switch. We have 24 fast ethernet port. So int fa0/1 switch port access VLAN 10. I want to all the switch port to be accessed for VLAN 10 for faculty network. Port 1 VLAN 10, port 2 VLAN 10, port 3 VLAN 10. You can do this thing as well one by one, or else you can give one command int range fa0/1 to 10. Okay, switch port access VLAN 10. Done. The same int fa0/11 to 20 switch port access VLAN 20. The same 21 to 24 for VLAN 30. Done. Now let me take two more PC here. So whenever I am connecting these two PCs in faculty network, I am connecting from port 1 to 10. 1 to 10, anyone, you can connect any port. These two PCs are in student network, so I'm connecting between 11 to 20, any PC, 11, 15, anything. This is in the back office from 21 to 24, 21 and 24. Done. Now just provide the IP address and it's done. Come here, desktop IP 192.168. Okay, this was in faculty network. So the faculty network was from 128 to 159. So 129 was the IP of switch. So 0.130. The subnet mask there 224 192.168.0.129. Done. Come to second PC. Desktop IP. Sorry. 129, 130, 131, 224. Default gateway. Done. Come to this. These are the,
Hello,
yes,
hello,
yes,
Krishna, sorry. So you statically assign the IP to the computers, right?
yes.
Okay. You didn't put it on the HCP to pick up any IP, right?
So for that, I have to configure the DSCP.
Okay. Now you are doing a static, right?
Right now, I'm doing a static. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So here, IP address 192.168.0.2 of student network. The network was from 0 to 127 for student network. The subnet mask 128 and the default gateway 0.1. Right. Come to this
The
desktop.
gateway, check the gateway, it will be 127, right?
No, default gateway is 1 for student network. I had given the first
Okay,
IP
okay, right,
1 to
right,
the
right.
switch. If you go to the switch here, you can see, just look there, 129, 161 at the very bottom, right?
Okay, yeah, right, right.
Okay. So here, 1, 2, 3, yes. 128, 1, yes. And for this network, I had used 161. 161, yes, to the switch. 192.168.1.162. The subnet mask is 248, 161. 163, default gateway 248.161. Fine. Now let us check between these two PC communication is happening or not. So the IP of this PC is 130 and this is 131. Let us check first. Ping 192.168.0.131. It's working, right? This two is communicating between each other. Now let us check with this PC. So this PC's IP was 2, right? 2. So from this PC I am communicating with 2. Done. Done. And let us check with this network as well. So this is the third network, 162. Let us check 162. It's not working, right? So I think there is some configuration issue. Let us check. So okay, here is the thing. I had given 1.162. So let us make it 0.162. Done. Done, guys. So here also we can see like VLAN configuration can be done by using layer 3 switch. And what is the command which we use here? Let me write down here so that you can make a note. VLAN using layer 3 switch. This was the scenario. First step on switch. I had used the command int, sorry, not int. First of all, I had created VLAN 10, name A, VLAN 20, name B, VLAN 30, name C. Done. Now the second step, go to anti VLAN 10, provide the IP address whatever you want, int VLAN 20, IP address of that network, int VLAN 30, IP address whatever. Okay. The third step, what was the third step? Create VLAN, provided the IP address. Now int range fa0/1, write it down here. Third step, int range fa0/1 to 10, switch port access VLAN 10. Okay. Then int range fa0/11 to 20, switch port access VLAN 20, and then same with int range fa0/21 to 24, switch port access VLAN 30. Okay. This is the third step, and the fourth step was IP routing. Okay, if I will not give that command IP routing, will it work? No. That is a very important command. Let us check. So if I'm going here in global configuration mode, no IP routing, done. Let us check now. Again, earlier it was giving the reply. Now, so IP routing is a command which enables the routing features in layer 3 switch. Okay, done. Stop now. Routing is not happening. So that is very important command. Again, I am just starting IP routing. IP routing. Okay, check again. Start. Right. So those who want, please note it down. Only 4 step to configure VLAN using layer 3 switch. Create VLAN, provide the IP address as per your requirement, provide the interface range, and enable the routing features by the command IP routing. Any confusion as of now, guys? Once you are done, please let me know so that I can proceed further. I'm not getting any voice. Guys, are you writing or should I proceed further?
Proceed, sir.
Proceed. Okay.
Yeah, proceed.
All right. So now I am going to the most important and most used in the industry, that is router on a stick process. Okay. This process. Now let me close these things. Fine. So in this process, the logic, before I proceed to the practical part, let me explain the logic. We have a router. It is connected with a switch, and we have to create VLANs over here. Now,
Krishna,
yes,
sorry, just a question.
yes, please.
They said that I usually heard about dialer. How do they configure a dialer
IP
from the
dialer.
router? Yeah, from the dialer, IP dialer. Like they configure a dialer and they put an IP assigned to that, just like a VLAN. But now you have explained for a VLAN. But I'm just asking for a dialer. How do they configure from the dialer?
I will come into that later on, because right now
Yeah.
I'm just explaining the basics of VLAN configuration. For DSCP and dialer, we will
Okay.
cover that in the next module. Okay, no need to worry about that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. So come here. Now, what is the logic? We know that on each interface of router is different IP address, right? If I have a router, on each interface, there is a different IP address. But here I'm using only one interface and I want to connect different networks, correct? On one interface, how can we run multiple networks? So the logic is we have to create 3 sub interface on that main interface. If it's FA0/0, I will create 3 sub interface on that main interface. The first part, okay? The first part is create sub interface, okay? Now the second part, switch. Once we will come to the collision domain and broadcast domain part, you will know that switch have one broadcast domain, means in the entire domain it will send packets to all the devices at once, okay? So what is the reason behind that? Because by default we have only one VLAN in switch, so that is why it broadcast one. But once you will come to the like collision domain and broadcast domain concept, you will understand whenever you will create multiple VLANs on switch, it will break the broadcast domain. Number of VLANs will be equal to number of broadcast. All right. So number of VLAN would be equal to number of broadcast domain. So here we will create 3 different VLANs for 3 different networks. Okay. So the second step, let me write it down here. Okay. Say you have created 3 VLAN here. You have for 3 interface for 3 networks, you have created 3 network. For 3 VLANs, you have created 3 VLANs. Okay. Create VLANs. Done. Now, how does this router will understand that which VLAN is for which sub interface? Okay. I have created 1, 2, 3 sub interface. I have created 1, 2, 3 VLANs for 3 networks, 3 sub interface, 3 VLANs. If there would be 10 networks, 10 sub interface, 10 VLANs, right? As per your requirement. Now, how does this router will understand that this sub interface, whichever you have created, that is for which VLAN? So we have heard about the term capsule. What do you mean by this word? Capsule. What do you know about this capsule? Just in medicine, what does it mean? Capsule. What is the logic?
Binding each other.
Right, binding each other. So in capsule, if you observe that this is like this, right? In between that packet, there is some important materials which helps your body to fight with that disease, whatever. Okay. So the packet, the outer part is a very important part along with the inner part. Okay. Whatever there is inside of that capsule, that is also important, and the outer part which you are using to pack that, that is also the important part. That is not the general plastic. Okay, because it can harm. So that is also important part. So if I say, what do you mean by encapsulation? What do you mean by encapsulation? If you understand this, you will be able to understand this as well. So encapsulation is a process to enclose one important data using another important data. That is called encapsulation, right? What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a process to enclose one important data using another important data. So we have a protocol .1q. This protocol is defined for encapsulation. So we will use this protocol to enclose this sub interface with this VLAN, this sub interface with this VLAN, this interface with this VLAN. Okay. So as per this, we can say the third process which we use is here is encapsulation. Okay. Now the fourth is, okay, fine. I have created three sub interfaces. I have created three VLANs. I have encapsulate each sub interface with each VLAN. Now what? How the VLAN's information will be forwarded to router. Okay. How VLAN's information of a switch will forward to the router. So for that you can understand like this. Just think like that. This is a big network. Here we are assuming three network, but in VLANs, in the real environment, once you will go, you will get 50 VLANs, 100 VLANs, 500 VLANs possible, right? So it's a very big network. Right now it's looking as a very small network, but it's a very big network. Okay. So you can understand this. All the informations of the network of a LAN is going to the router. How? So VLANs are created on switch. We are creating the VLANs on a switch. Switch is forwarding that VLAN. Let me take other color so that we can visible that. Okay, here. This was the main interface when router and switch are connected to the main main interface FS0/0 or whatever the switch port is. Only one port is connected. Others are sub interface and VLANs. Okay, but the connectivity is only one. The cable is only one between router and switch. But here we have a very large network. VLAN 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, N. Okay. So this VLAN information is being forwarded to router through which port? This port. So router, just say router is an elephant. Okay. It's a very huge network. So it's an elephant. So router is getting that food of the information of a network from where? From this port of the switch. So this port you have to make the port which is connected to the switch, you have to make that port as a trunk port. How routers, sorry, how an elephant uh, take his food through his trunk. So this is an elephant. This is his mouth. He is eating all this information through this trunk port. So the port whichever is connected through the internetworking device. Okay, if you want, you can make a note of it. What is the difference between trunk port and access port? In the previous scenario, we have checked. I was creating the access port, switch port access VLAN 10, switch port access VLAN 20, switch port access VLAN 30. Difference between trunk and access port. What are the difference? Anyone?
Access is to
Yes.
trunk is connecting two switch together, but access is to give access to other devices to connect to the switch.
Exactly. The logic is absolutely fine. The devices, the port which is providing the connectivity to the in devices. Okay. Suppose again here also we have 24 ports. So the port which I am providing, I am giving the connectivity to the end devices, that would be the access port. The port which is connected between internetworking devices like switch or router, that would be the trunk port. Trunk port carries the VLAN information from one internetworking devices to the another internetworking devices. So whenever you are connecting two internetworking devices like router or switch, just for carrying the VLAN information, that port would be the trunk port. Okay, any confusion? The port which is connected to the end device, that is access port. The port which is connected to the internet networking devices, that is called the trunk port. Any confusion? No? Now, after doing that, the fifth part is just go to the router, provide the IP addresses, router sub interface. Okay. After trunk port, okay, one step is missing here. uh, Switch port access, switch port access. Okay, and then provide IP address to router sub interface. Now there is no any hard and fast rule to configure in this sequence. Okay, just for your understanding, just for your clearing the concept, I have created this sequence, but you can change that sequence as well. Okay, just for example, whenever you are on router, you are creating the sub interface. At the same time you also encapsulate, and at the same time you also provide the IP address to that sub interface. Now once you will go to the switch, create VLAN, create VLAN, provide the trunk port and configure the access port. Okay, so only 2 steps, it's done. But just for your understanding, I have created this 6 steps. Okay, so that you will not get confused how and why and where we are going to configure that. So now let us come to the scenario here. So here is the scenario now. Okay, so I'm doing one thing. I'm not taking these pieces because again I have to configure the same IP address. So I am taking this PC only because the IP is already configured in these PCs. So I am disconnecting these PCs from this switch, and now my network is changed. I'm going to configure here this network. Any confusion? The IP is configured on this PCs, right? The same PC with the same IP I'm going to configure in this network. The network is same. We had this faculty, student and back office. The same network I'm going to configure here using router on a stick method. Where is that? Yes. So the first thing, let me provide the connectivity between router and switch, gigabyte and gigabyte. Done. The first step which I explained you is create the sub interface for different networks. So how to create the sub interface? Enable config T. Go to the global configuration mode. The main interface is G0/0/0 and T Z0/0/0. Done. Now, first of all, you have to turn on that main interface. Otherwise, sub interface will be automatically down. So turn up, no shutdown, nothing else. You just need to turn up. Now, before I proceed further, let me show you the details. Do show IP INT brief. So here we can see we have only one main interface G0/0/0, another 1 and 2. Now here I am typing the command int Z0/0/0. This is the main interface. I am just putting .10 to identify the VLAN. I will create VLAN 10, 20, 30. The same matching that VLAN name, I am putting the sub interface. There is no any hard and fast rule. You can be create .1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. Okay. So Z0/0/0.10 created, 20 created, 30 created. Done. Now let us check again. Do show IP INT brief. Fine. So here you can see that we have a new 3 sub interfaces here, name as 0/0/0.10 2030, which was not earlier. Here it was not there, but now you have 3 sub interfaces, which is a part of this main interface. Cool. Done. Now come to the switch. I have created 3 sub interfaces. Now on VLAN, enable config T. On switch, create 3 VLAN, VLAN 10, name faculty, VLAN 20, name student, VLAN 30, name back office. Okay, do show VLAN. Fine. Here you can see I have created 3 VLAN 10, 20, 30 with the name faculty, student, back office. To check the VLAN, what is the command? Show VLAN. By default, we have one native VLAN. By default, we have one native VLAN on the switch. All the ports are connected to that VLAN. Okay, so here I have to divide all the ports and I have to assign to VLAN 10, 20, 30, so that whenever any PC will connect through port 1 to 10, automatically switch will understand, okay, this is the PC which is trying to connect to the faculty network. From 11 to 20, student network. From 21 to 24, from back office network, right? Fine. So I have created 3 VLANs. Now INT range FA 0/1 to 10, switch port access VLAN 10, 11 to 20, switch port access VLAN 20, and from 21 to 24, switch port access VLAN 30. Again check, do show VLAN. Good. So here you can see for faculty network, I have assigned the port from 1 to 10, for student network from 11 to 20, and for back office 21 to 24. No confusion, guys? No confusion? Now, as I told you that the port which is connected to the router, which will carry the VLAN information to the router, that port should be the trunk port. So the port which is connected to the router is Z0/1, gigabyte Ethernet 0/1. So let me do the trunk port. INT Z0/1 is connected to the router, so this would be switch port mode trunk. Done. Now I have created 3 sub interfaces. I have created 3 VLANs. How router will understand that which port is for which VLAN? So we have to configure encapsulation, right? So we have to encapsulate. So I had created INT Z0/0/0.10 sub interface. So this interface I am going to encapsulate. The command is encapsulation with which protocol? .1q. For which VLAN? VLAN ID. So the VLAN ID which we have created is 10. Done. The second interface INT Z0/0.20 encapsulation .1q 20, and the third sub interface was for VLAN 30. Done. Everything is done now. Only the thing which is remaining here is provide the IP address and check the connectivity. So this sub interface INT FA 0/0.10, this sub interface is for faculty network. INT Z0/0/0.10 I will provide the IP of that network. So IP address 192.168.0. What was the default gateway of this PCs? 129, right? So I'm going to provide this IP to the router 224 subnet mask. Okay. Here also you can check in this scenario whatever we had done yesterday. So where is that? 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 I've closed that. No worries. Okay. For faculty network, the network was 128 to 159. The first IP I had given to the router with the subnet was 224. So the same I am going to here. IP address 129 255 255 255 224. Done. Now on the second sub interface 20, the student network, there was network running 0 to 127 with the subnet mask 128. So IP address 192.168.0.1 255 255 255 128. For the third network back office, there was from 160 to 167 with the subnet mask 248. So the IP address would be 192.168.0.161 255 255 255 248. Done. Everything is done now. So as we have decided that from port 1 to 10, you can see here from port 1 to 10, it is in VLAN 10. So if I want to connect this to PC to faculty network, I have to connect those PCs between port 1 to 10. So let me connect it 1 to 10. Any
Sir, in switch, no need to give any IP address, right?
it's required once you want to manage the switch. Once suppose we will learn that like whenever we will configure telnet, suppose in your organization right now I'm taking only one switch.
Okay.
There is 4 or 5 switches on different buildings,
Okay.
and you are in the server room or wherever you are the administrator, you are in the server room. You
Okay.
want to manage that switch by remotely access. Okay, you want to telnet the switch so that you can configure that switch from anywhere in the network.
Okay.
At that point of time you will require an IP address to the switch so that you can take the remote access of that switch, right?
Okay.
You
Okay.
can access that remotely through telnet or SSH. So at that point of time the IP is required, then we will configure the IP address on the switch. Okay, we will also require,
At that time, what IP you will be taking, sir?
at the time you will give a different network from main interface 0/0/0.
Okay.
Same network IP address you will give to the VLAN 1 interface.
Okay.
Okay, INT VLAN 1, on that interface of switch you will provide that IP address, and we will configure telnet so that we can remotely access that switch from anywhere. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
now so these two PCs was in faculty, I have connected that. This 2 PC student, I have to connect it either from port 11 to 20, anyone. And this is the back office connected with from 21 to 24, 21, 23, whatever. Now done. Let us check if it's communicating between each other or not. So this PC is in faculty network. So the IP was of this PC is 130 and this PC is 131. So let us check whether it is communicating between each other or not. Ping 192.168.0.131. It's working. Working, right? Now in the different network, what is the IP of this PC? 0.2. Let us check from this PC 0.2. Done. The third network 162. Let us check. 162. Done. Cool. Any question? So these are three types of VLAN configuration which you can do. One is through using different port of a router. The second is using layer 3 switch. The third is with the process router on a stick. Okay. Any question from this, guys? Any confusion? Any question?
Uh, just a question.
Yes, Tinga.
So from those interfaces, you don't need to assign an IP address from router interface and the switch interface. You have to just trunk those ones. Sir.
Exactly. You
Is
just
it?
provide the IP address
Okay.
of the sub interface because you are not going to take the remote access of the switch or the router.
Okay.
Even router have three IP addresses on the main, on the sub interfaces. So if you will configure telnet or SSH on router, you will be able to access that router remotely through telnet or SSH by the help of that sub interface's IP. Okay. IP is
Okay.
required to remotely access. So we have the IP address on the router. You can access that. But on switch, we do not have any IP address. So right now, as of now, you will not be able to access the switch.
So it's an unmanaged switch.
No, it's a manageable switch. You are managing that. You are creating the VLAN and you are doing that. It's a manageable switch. Unmanageable switch means what? You cannot manage it. You cannot create just to provide the connectivity. It's a simple
Yes. Yes.
switch.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Any other query? Guys, anyone? Sri, Shaurav, Karthik, any
No
questions from
doubt,
anyone?
sir. No doubt, no doubt.
Hussaini sir,
No, sir.
if I'm missing anything. We have like this Hussaini sir who is very much experienced. He's working in a real environment since last 20 years. Okay, so that is why I'm asking him. If I'm missing anything, Hussaini sir. No, okay. Karthik is saying no doubt, sir. Okay, thank you so much, brother. Yes, Hussaini sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Krishna.
If I missed anything,
No, you are on the dot. Only thing, IP stack, TCP IP stack for the
Uh-huh.
static IP routing,
Uh-huh.
the IP based routing is also there. So many people forget about they only concentrate on the higher level protocols, BGP, eBGP, IBGP, RIP version 2, version 3, OSPF version 3. They forget about the IP.
IP routing, yes, correct. You are right. So this is the thing, but when we will cover OSI reference model and the TCP IP reference model, I think this will be clear to all. Okay, so this is done for today. If you have any questions, you can ask, and tomorrow we will we will do supernetting and you say wildcard mask calculation. Sorry guys, there was some network related issue. So any query now? And tomorrow we will proceed further with supernetting and wildcard mask calculation. Okay. If you have any question till now, please ask because we have a lot of time today. So any practice or any questions if you want, guys. I'm not getting any voice. Yes, Tinga.
Okay.
Yes, Hussaini sir. Boris, you are saying something. Messi.
Hello.
Yes, Tinga.
Okay, the one that you have set it up for subdomain. Um, in the real environment, that you can just set it up without the assigning an IP,
Uh-huh.
and it will still work. You can go
Definitely.
out from the other router also, and if, for instance, like this is your network, and
Uh-huh.
you want to connect to an internet, so you want to get an internet from the ISP. So ISP come and set a router there, and this is your network that you have configured. How will you configure in a way that to get the internet from the ISP router?
Definitely. So for that, first of all, the connectivity whichever you will get on the WAN interface of the router, like serial interface or any interface, whenever you will get the connectivity, as we are using the private IP address on the local network, it will never communicate with the WAN. So for that, NAT will comes into the picture where network address translation, and that will work. Then we will configure that, and with the like routing protocols and all, that is a later part. Right now, as of now, any question, that is a different thing. We will learn that as well, but in the different module. Till now, any questions from subnetting, from VLSM, from VLAN configuration, any questions?
My own notion.
No. So do you want some practice on subnetting today, because we have a lot of time remaining, like it's 2 only. Okay, we still have 1 hours left. So if you guys want, we can do some subnetting practice today. Those who want, raise your hand.
Yes, sir.
That
No
will be good,
problem,
right?
sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Sri,
Yes, sir.
Karthik, can we do that? Hussaini sir?
Yes, sure.
All right. So let us start some practice so that we can wash ourselves. And I will send you the assessment based on this, and I will also share this all configurations whichever we have done yesterday. Like you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and one assessment I will send you, like total 5 configuration you have to do by the end of today. Okay, I will send you all these 3 whatever we done yesterday, the VLSM part. I will share that VLSM thing with you. You will implement that in the uh, packet tracer with the help of router on a stick process. Okay, also layer 3 switch, using the layer 3 switch. So just configure all the things so that uh, you can practice for yourself. Okay, all right, so let us come to the subnetting practice. We will do it for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, those who have any work, they can disconnect. Those who want to practice, they can continue. Start. So the first question for us today is, what is the broadcast address? What is the broadcast address of the network? This, guys. Just tell me honestly, who all are doing practice on this subnetting? I know Karthik is doing. Okay. Apart from Karthik, Sri, just tell me honestly, are you doing this? This is the most important part of networking. If you're not good in subnetting, trust me, you will struggle a lot while uh, creating a network, while managing a network, while planning a network, while troubleshooting a network. It will be very difficult for you. Okay. So just be good in subnetting. This is the very most important thing of any networking. Okay. So Karthik, I got the answer from Karthik. Yes, Karthik, you are right. Anyone else? Sri, Saurav, Boris, Messi, Tinga. if you are using pen and paper, just use it for 2 to 3 questions. After that, I will not allow you to use pen and paper. Okay, just use this in your mind. Saurav 31.25. Okay, good. Sri, what about you? Boris, Messi. Boris, please unmute your mic. Messi, please unmute your mic.
Hi, Krishna.
Yes, Tinga. So,
Sorry, it's after 6 years, so I'm getting on the car, so I'll just view the hear the conversation, but because of the noise, I won't be able
okay, so you can comment. You can comment your answer. If you
to
are
talk. But
doing it, you can comment
I'm
your
heading
answer.
home from the car, so
Okay, no worries. Yes, Messi and Boris, I'm waiting for you guys.
The jump is 16 and the subnet mask is 240.
I want the broadcast address. I don't want jump. I don't want subnet mask. I just need broadcast address. If you have this IP address, what would be the broadcast address? Do you want me to explain? I already got the answer from Saurav and Karthik. They are right. Sri, I'm waiting for you.
Sir, I'm attending some calls, sir. Office work.
Okay, okay, okay. Then it's fine. Okay, Boris and Messi, please look here. So here we have 20 bits, means 8, 8, 4 and 0. You said jump is of 16. Very good. 4-bit on means jump of 16. Right. Subnet mask is not required. No need to find out the subnet mask. Just focus on the target and do the calculation as early as possible. Okay. So we have a jump of 16 in which octet? Third octet, right? This is in third octet. So in the third octet we have 16. So that network will be from 16.0 to 31.255. So for that network, what is the broadcast address? 31.255. Correct? Boris, Messi?
Correct, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So just try to eliminate the unnecessary calculation. Do it as early as possible. Okay. Let us come to the next question. Let us see the answer. Yes, 31.255 is the correct answer. Next question. What would what valid host range is the IP address this a part of? Start. Saurav, I don't need jump. I just want valid host range. Karthik is very right. Okay.
Every time broadcast address add कर देता हूँ गलती से valid address पूछा है.
Yes. So 255 would be the broadcast address. 254 would be the correct answer. Yes. Okay. Boris and Messi, if you can hear me, please unmute. Okay. Here we have 24 bits, means 8, 8, 8 and 0. The last bit on in third octet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and rest all are off in fourth octet. So this bit is the last bit which is on. The value of last bit of any octet is 1. So we will have jump of 1 in which octet? Third octet, right? So in the third octet we have value 246. So definitely if we have a jump of 1, you will get the network of 246.0 to 246.255. We are getting the jump of 1 only, right? So this is the network range. The valid host range would be 246.1 to 246.254. Done, guys? Okay, let us come to the next question. Let me show you the answer. Yes, 246.1 to 246.254. Next. Which subnet does this host belong to? Start. Which subnet does host this belong to? Saurav, no, Karthik, 32.0. No, brother, you are wrong. Sorry, not wrong. Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right, Karthik. Anyone else? Karthik, Are you using pen and paper? If no, good. Thank you. Because you are good in this now, so please avoid pen and paper. Do not use pen and paper. Sri is okay, 32.0. Okay, Saurav is also 32.0. All right. Saurav, are you using pen and paper? Saurav, I'm not using. It took time to do mentally. Okay. But if you will do this as a practice in your mind, honestly speaking, you will be much better and it will not take much time. Simply just focus on the subnet mask. Okay, what about Boris and Messi? Boris and Messi, have you done that? If you're facing any issue, if you're facing struggle, please let me know so that I can give you another way. Okay, look here. So the first thing which I used to
Sir,
observe,
I'm not getting the question.
you're not getting the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this kind of question, whenever it will ask you which subnet, okay, which subnet does this host belong to? It means, okay, you know, whenever I was teaching you subnetting, I have created 8 set of questions. The first, subnet mask or jump. The second, subnet mask or CIDR. CIDR. The second was jump. The third was network range. The fourth was network address. Fifth was broadcast address. Sixth was valid host range. Seventh, total number of network. And eighth, total number of host. In any question, you will not get any different questions from these 8 questions. Okay. This is not a question. This is just for calculation. This is just for calculation. These are the 6 question which you will get. So here it's asking which subnet does host. This is a host. This is the IP. Okay. It is asking that this IP, this host is belonging to which subnet, means which network. You have to say the network address of that particular network from where this IP is belonging to. Okay. Now, the first thing which you have to observe is subnet mask or the CIDR value so that you can find out the jump, because these are the two things which will help you to find out the network range. Through network range, you will get the network address, broadcast address, void host range, and that subnet mask will help you to find out the total number of network and total number of hosts. So these are the only two things which you have to observe at the first point of time. So first point of time is the subnet mask 248 means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 bits on. The value of fifth bit is 8, right? How 5 bit is on? Golden rule number 2. Look at the golden rule number 2. If you have subnet mask 248, it means 5 bits are on. 5 bits are on means the value of fifth bit is 8. So you will get jump of 8. In which octet? As this is in third octet. So 8 jump in third octet. Right? Now look at the third octet of the IP address.
Yes, sir.
We have 35. So with the jump of 8, you have to go to the 35, right? So the first network will be 0 to 7, 8 to 15, just like that, 32 to 39, right? So 32 in the third octet, so the network range will be 32.0 to 39.255. So what is the network address? 32.0. So the answer would be 32.0. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let me show you the answer. Here it is. Now come to the next question. What is the first valid host, guys? What is the first valid host on the subnetwork that the node this belong to? Yes, Karthik, you are right. 161 to 167. Yes, you are also right. No, if you are saying that valid host range, that is wrong. The network range would be from 160 to 167. The valid host range would be from 161 to 166. Okay, 161 to 167. Saurav is also typing wrong. The question is asking only for the first valid host. You can say only first valid host. That is right. But whatever you guys are saying, Saurav and Sri, whatever you guys are saying, that is the valid host range. If you are saying valid host range, that is wrong, because the network range will be from 160 to 167. Yes. So the valid host range would be from 161 to 166. Okay, but you had said 161 to 167. That is not the correct one. 167 is the broadcast address. Saurav and Sri. Yes. Boris and Messi, what about you guys? Boris and Messi, please unmute.
I have been mistaken. I am adding every time broadcast address mistakenly.
Okay. Messi, whatever you are saying, please justify yourself. Like, are you right? You are saying 196 to 167. How it can be correct? You are going in reverse format or what? 196 to 167. How? Okay, just tell me how much is the jump here? How much is the jump? Messi and Boris. How much is the jump? Guys?
Jump will be 8, sir.
Yes, I'm asking to Boris and Messi. You guys are right. Sri, Saurav and Karthik, you are right. I'm talking to Boris and Messi. They are struggling with this.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Boris, what is the jump?
So the first that about I say it's difficult if the brain we are training our brain.
Sorry?
I'm saying that mentally it's taking time. You are training our brain.
Okay.
That's why it's taking time.
All right.
You are not using paper.
Okay, that is fine. So, okay, just look at the subnet mask. Look at the CIDR value. What is the jump? 29 bits. Okay, just think like that. I'm just telling you the thought process, what it should be. Okay. Yes, jump is 8. In which octet? Messi, you are saying jump is 8. In which octet? Fourth octet? Fourth
Yes,
octet?
four octets, sir.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
what is the value in fourth octet of the IP address? 160, 161, right?
Yeah, 161, sir.
Right. So with the jump of 8, you have to reach 161. Now start calculating. If we have a jump of 8, I will definitely get a network of 180, sorry, 80, right? And then I will get the network of 160 as well. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's very simple. Just do multiplication, addition, subtraction. Just try to reach the nearest point of the required number. So I had to reach 161 with a jump of 8. I will get the network of 80 because I have a jump of 8. I will definitely get the network of 80, and I will also get the network of 160. Now I am near to 161. So I will check like 160 network will be from where to where. So as we have a jump of 8, so the network will be from 160 to 167, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is
Yes,
the network range. What would be the first valid host of that network? Just after the network ID, like 160, the next IP would be 161. So the IP which is given here on the screen, that itself is a first valid host. Okay, let me show you the answer. Look here. Done. So there is only two steps. Find out the jump in your mind. Look at the octet. What is the value? And reach there. That's it. Answer is yours, right? Now let us come to the next question. How many subnet and host per subnet can you get from the network? The first thing which you will think is, okay, so how many bits are on in subnet mask? First of all, the IP is of class B. It means I don't have to bother about this 2 octet of the subnet mask because it's class B. So I have nothing to do this with this 2 octet. In this 2 octet, how many bits are on? So we have 240 value here in subnet mask. 240 means 4 bits are on in third octet, rest all are off. So combining all in this 2 octet, we have only 4 bits are on. So for network, what would be there? 2 to the power 4. How many network? 16 network, right? And for host, I have 4 bits off in this network, sorry, this in this octet, and 8 bits off in this octet. So total, combining this 2 octet, we have 12 bits are off, right? So what would be the host? 2 to the power 12 minus 2, 4094. 16 network and 4094 host, right? Let me show you. Look here. So very simple. Let us come to the next question. You guys will do this. What is the last valid host of the subnetwork? Last valid host. Karthik, wrong. Please recheck. You are missing the jump part. You are taking the wrong jump. Please check once again. Karthik. Saurav, Sri, Boris, Messi. Saurav, wrong. The question is, what is the last valid host? So whatever you are saying, that is the next network. That is the next network. No, Saurav. The question is 224. You have a jump of Karthik and Saurav. Everyone say, how much is your jump? No. Saurav. 16. Yes. 16 the jump.
The jump is 16.
Yes. So
16, sir. Typing, I am mistaking. I'm speaking. Okay, sir. Jump is 16.
okay, jump is 16. Now, in which octet?
4, sir.
Fourth octet? Right.
Mm.
Now, in the fourth octet of the IP address, what is the value?
Sir, fourth octet, the IP address, the value is 224.
224. So with the jump of 16, you have to reach 224 and check that IP is belonging to which network, and the last valid host of that network is what. So if I have a jump of 16, I will get the network of 160, right?
Yes.
Then I
Next
will get the network of 240, right? But
yes.
240 is one step ahead because I have to reach 224. So I will get one step back. So 240 minus 16, 224, right? Right? Brother? Saurav?
I don't get it, sir.
Yes, sir.
You have to find out 224 is belonging to which network, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
If you are at 240, it means you are ahead of 224.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Means
Okay.
240 network will not cover 224 IP address. 224 network will be from 240 to 255. 224 will not cover into that.
It will cover.
No. Why you are going to 2 to the power? Don't go 2 to the power. Just think. Okay, let me write it down for you.
So it will go 224 to 240. Directly it will cover
224 to 239.
39. Yeah, 240 broadcast address.
Exactly. So if this IP, okay, let me write it down for others.
Oh, sorry. 239 is the broadcast address. 238 it will be the valid host, sir.
Exactly. So we have a jump of 16 in fourth octet. With a jump of 16, I have to reach 220.
Lot of mentality calculations sir, goes wrong sometimes.
Yes, that is why if you are good, still I will ask you to take 5 or 10 minutes daily for the perfection. Okay, otherwise you will miss. So 224, I have to reach 224 with a jump of 16. Now as I have a jump of 16, I will get the first network 0 to 15, the second 16 to 31. I will get the network of 162, 175. I have to reach 224. Still I am very far. So I know 16 into 5 is equal to 80. So 160 plus 80, I will be on 240 to 255 network. But still that IP is not belonging to this network, right? So I have to get back one step. If I will minus 16 from 240, I will get just before the network, right? So 240 minus 16, 224 to 239 would be the 239 would be the network. After that it will be from 240 to
No,
255.
no, 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 sir. Broadcast address. 239 will be broadcast address. So
Yes, I'm
those
talking
will
about the network range. I'm talking
yes,
about the
sir.
network range. So
Yes,
this
sir.
would be the network range.
Yes.
So after I got the network range, like 224 is belonging to this network, then I can decide, okay, so this is the network. So the valid host range would be 225 to 238. So the last valid host is 238.
38.
Okay. Everyone got it? Let us check. Here it is. Karthik, clear now? Good. Now, come to the next question. How many subnet and host per subnet can you get from the network? Start.
Subnet 8, sir. Hello?
Yes.
8 and 30, right. 2 power 3, 2 power 5 minus 2.
Just give me 1 second.
Already gave the chat.
Stay safe. Stay healthy. Please acknowledge as prompted. Press 1 to confirm receipt. Press 2. Thank you. Your response has been received.
Yes. Yes. 8 to 30. Okay. Who is what? How many subnet and host? Okay.
8 number of subnets, 30 number of
Very
2
good,
power
sir.
3, 2 power 5 minus 2.
Yes,
Or
you are
3.
right. What is the value?
8 and 30.
Yes, 8 and 30. Boris, Messi, what about you guys? Those who are saying 8 subnet and 30 host, they are right. How? Boris and Messi. Look here. Class C, we have 27 bit, right? So 8, 8, 8 and 3. So as it's a class C, so we are not bothered about this. In the last octet, we have 2 to the power 3 bits on, so 8 subnet, and we have 5 bits off, then 30 host, right? Don't go into unnecessary and lengthy calculation. Just do it simple. Okay, let us come to the next question. 8 subnet and 30 host. What is the last valid host? This is the second last question, and after that I will take the last question. Okay, what is the last valid host on the subnetwork?
Sir, 254.
Yes, you are right. Karthik,
टाइप करना है या बोलना है?
कुछ भी कर सकते हो भाई, बोल सकते हो, टाइप कर सकते हो, जो मन में है। टाइप करने में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, मुझे पता है, ठीक है। So 254, Karthik is saying yes, you are right, Karthik.
मैं चार्ट कर दिया था, मैं चार्ट कर रहा था, यहाँ पे इसने बोल दिया.
Boris and Messi.
So we are on it also. I join Messi, we are on it.
Sorry. Okay, you are doing that. Okay. Honestly speaking, I'm very happy with the performance of my team. How you guys are calculating, it's very good. Because right now you will think that it's very simple, but ask them who are still struggling, who are doing that binary, decimal and all. If you speak to them, you will feel that like
Important is we learned from these classes, but problem is after 6, 7 months or 8 months or 9 months, we tend to forget something. If you don't practice, could not practice every day.
definitely. So that is why I'm telling you that whenever you are traveling or whenever you are sitting idle at any point of time, just open your mobile, type subnettingquestions.com, take 5 to 10 minutes daily. It's not a big deal, right? When I was doing that, when I was in like 2010 or 11, when I was doing this practice, my best time to practice for subnetting was in my washroom. Just sit idle for 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, look at your mobile, start calculating. Okay. Yes, Boris and Messi. So you can see here, like the jump is, if you have subnet mask 252, we will have the jump of,
Four.
4. In which octet? Fourth octet, right?
Four.
So in the fourth octet, what is the value in the IP address? 252. So with the jump of 4, you have to reach 252 and you have to check like this network range is belonging from where to where, right? So there is a common sense.
Yes, sir.
There is a common sense. You need to apply the logic. If you are near to 0, start calculating from front. If you are near to 255, start calculating from the back, because we know that we cannot go beyond 255, right? So as we have a jump of 4 and I have to reach 252, I can say that okay, 252 network range will be from 252 to 255 with a jump of 4, right? This is the last network. This is the last network, right? Or else, if you're not good enough or if you're not confident enough in doing that, start doing like this. First network 0 to 3. As I have a jump of 4, I will get the network of 40. I'll get the network of 80. I'll get the network of 120. I'll get the network of 160. I'll get the network of 200. And then I will get the network of 240. Now I am on 240. 240 to 243. Next network 244, 248, 252, 252 to 255. Same, right?
Yes, sir.
So whether you are good in multiplication, do multiplication process. Whether you are good in addition, just do addition. Whether you are good in subtraction or division, just do that. Whatever you are in good, just do that. No any hard and fast rule. The ultimate target is to reach the nearest value of the required number. Okay, done. So What is the last valid host? As this is the network range is 252 to 255, the valid host range would be 253 to 254. So the last valid host will be 254. Let us check the answer. 254. Okay. Now come to the
Yes,
next.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So this is the last question for today. Nice. I want correct answer from everyone. What is the first valid host on the subnetwork?
So 192.
First valid host. You are right. Absolutely right. But that is the network address. What is the first valid host?
193.
Yes. Anyone else?
The jump is 32.
No.
Sorry, 64. Sorry, 64.
Yes.
So in the fourth octet.
Yes.
So 64, 128, 3, 192. 192 will be network, so subnet. So 193 is the first.
Right.
Valid host.
Okay. Karthik.
So mentally, it's still is just calculating wrong.
Mentally you are doing even like in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 1 minute, right?
Yes.
But once you will go and write down on paper, it will take only conversion will take a lot of time. Okay. Once you will go to the decimal binary conversion, it will get a lot of time.
So some chat is there. Chat. Check chat.
Okay, you can do that from the like many people are providing like cheat sheet for submitting cheat sheets and all, but honestly speaking,
Confusing that one. I checked
that
it.
that is confusing. That is okay, but that will help you in subnetting. But what is the use of subnetting in VLSM? Once you will go to VLSM, once you will require different networks for different subnet masks, how will you calculate? First network you will calculate through chart. What about second network? How will you calculate that? Right? So
Right, so
that will not help. Cheat sheet will never help you in real environment. That will definitely help you while doing submitting practice on pen and paper or any submitting questions. But once you will go to the real environment, once you will do VLSM and VLAN configuration, that cheat sheet will never help you. Because the network will getting changed, the jump will getting changed from different network. So that is why. So Karthik is saying 254.96 dot no. Okay. Dorium is saying 254.96.254. This is for the previous question, I think. Yes. Guys, Karthik, I think Karthik is busy now. Messi, Tinga, okay, Tinga is busy. Messi and Boris. It's very simple. Let me explain. 64. 64 bits means 8, 8, 8 and 2. Just start writing this thing in your mind. Okay, this is the very first initial step which I do on each and every question. If you observe, okay, 8 bit, 8 bit, 8 bit and 2 bit. This will help you to identify how many bits are on in which octet. So in the fourth octet we have 2 bits on, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what is the value of the second bit? 64. So I will definitely get the jump of 64 in fourth octet, right? Now with the jump of 64, I have to reach 240 and check that this 240 is belonging to which network. So if I have a jump of 64, The first network I will get from 0 to 63. The second network 64 to 127. The third network from 128 to 191, and then 192 to 255. So this 240 is belonging to which network? This network. So the question is, what is the first valid host? So this is the network range. So the first valid host is 193 254. So this is the first valid host, this is the last valid host. As simple, right? Guys, clear now? Okay, so I think I need to close the session today, and thank you so much guys for joining today's session. Once again, we will meet tomorrow with new topic, supernating and wildcard mask calculation. Okay, so thank you so much guys for joining today's session. Bye bye, take care. Bye Sri, bye Tinga, bye everyone.
Bye, sir.
Bye.